Get to sign in, and as soon as everybody gets signed in, we'll read through. I don't think I have this part. All right. Thank you. You're welcome. All right, sixth grade world cultures. Yeah. Let's get started. Whoever, can y'all start with the norms, please?
Clear, respectful communication. All members participate and collaborate.
Make efficient use of time.
Celebrate, support each other.
Yes. Good job. So we'll all adhere to those norms. Since my computer is in action. Real quick, let's do as you all always do a quick wraparound so we'll know where everybody is in the pacing. Doesn't matter who goes first.
Sure. I'll go ahead and get started. So yesterday we did a ed puzzle that made sure to kind of both recap and give a complete understanding of what GDP, how GDP per capita, how it operates, what it is, make sure students understand vocabulary. And then we connected that back with Parlor to kind of help wrap up with facts of production and economic systems.
Okay. Yesterday I did a wrap up with my students. So today we're going to be working on a review for our CDA for tomorrow.
Okay.
And for me, I'm unsure when my case will stop.
Okay. Yes, and that's what I was told you. I was gonna fill you in on the handout for literacy and GDP. They had actually already started that the first day that you were out. So they started that and then they finished up, I think, on the blue sheet that you all had that was comparing the different governments and economies. So they took that and most of them, I think, glued it into their interactive notebook. The guest teacher was like, they had a lot of questions about GDP. So when I went in yesterday, I said, well, I'm glad you said that because I pulled up the ed puzzle and the ed puzzle had like 7 questions that went along with it, but it was pretty good. So I think most of them pretty much understand GDP. Now you may have to do a little bit of clarification and give them some examples. But I think for the most part, they get it. So that's why I gave the sheets that they did when you were originally out. I handed it back to them and said, so after y'all watch the video, now you should have a better understanding because the questions were really good with it too. I said, so make any changes that you need to on the document and turn it in. I made them answer the questions on the back of the handout. So you should see.
So I see the questions.
Yes, you should see 1 through 7 on the back. And then the video should still be up too. If you wanted to know the ed puzzle. So I can send it to you so you can see it.
I need to see it because
Okay. I'll send it to you, no problem. So it seems like everybody is in a spot for a wrap up, maybe except Miss Dorsey because she needs to kind of test the waters to see where she is. So I'm just gonna go ahead and ask, is everybody still okay with doing their assessment tomorrow? You already know it will be a no. But I'm just gonna ask everybody else, and if we need to shift, then now would be the time for us to decide the shift.
Well, we could shift. Because I was able to see my students are lacking what they need more help with.
Okay, so yesterday you were able to see some gaps. Okay. So then doing the review, you probably extended a little bit longer because there are some things you want to go back and fix.
Yes.
Okay. What about?
Well, with that, it's the same for my own reasons. Since I won't be present tomorrow. Pushing it back would be easier, so I don't have to. I was going to log into I tested out. You can unlock the test, and you can on your mobile devices. You can do that, but since I'll be on the road, I just for my babies. And I shared it. I mentioned it last night, so sorry if it was a little bit delayed. But I created a review assessment. So what I can do is for my substitute, I can have those printed and in the substitute folder, so they can go through that as classwork tomorrow to help prepare.
Okay, so then I'll give you a new date for your CBA.
well, with the pacing of the calendar, you would have to take an test on Monday.
Because if you look at the top, there were a total of 12 days for teaching who controls the land. So that's outside. It was a total of 12 days. So looking at the 12 days, we had to cut off a few. As report card put on the 7th. So 7th would have been the 12th day. But
Okay.
I wouldn't advise assessing on day 12, on the 7th. So that's why I was saying we'd have to move the assessment up a little bit ahead. So that Friday is the 7th, the 6th is that Thursday, which of course is a late arrival day.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't suggest doing anything on those 2 days other than like kind of making sure students kind of wrap up with any other loose ends, formative assessments that they need to finish up on. So the rounded up assessment could be that Wednesday, but Mr. Powell and I also talked about some different things that we could do for a summative because we just needed one more. But we can talk about that. So if we move it to Monday, would that give you enough time?
Yeah, that'll give me enough time. That way I have Friday to wrap up.
Okay, and so let's talk about the length of the test too, because I was originally going to do 20. So if we may need to kind of remind them a little bit on Monday, then I would suggest that we knock the 20 down. So
Okay.
what would y'all like to go down to?
Let's go down. Can we go to 15?
15?
First number hit my head.
Okay. What about you, Mr. Powell?
That sounds great with me.
So is this the little bit close to 15?
Today.
Okay.
Mhm. I already have 5. I just needed to create the rest of it, but I wanted to kind of see where everybody was. And then I knew with you being out, I didn't want your babies to be behind. Okay. All right. Well, then looking at next week, who's doing plans?
Me.
All right. Well, you got Monday done.
So we just shifting everything?
Yes.
Okay, then
Yes.
the rest of the week is plain.
Well, and we're gonna have to condense some things. So let me give y'all a quick layout. So all y'all have the handouts. We talked about, or y'all remind me again, your intro and how you were going to do the colonization, the hook piece.
So the hook is the kids come in, the colonization.
Mhm.
So some of the kids are going to rotate to different classrooms.
So y'all are gonna rotate. Mr. Powell may mention, I could not remember, but
Yes.
okay.
So some of the kids will rotate, and then other kids, they get treated like they're the Native Americans, while the other ones come in and they're the Europeans that are gonna be treated better.
Okay.
So they get the visualization of seeing how colonization actually happened.
Gotcha.
So you take some of their belongings, take it, and it stuck with them last year when we did it too.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
It did.
Yes. Okay. So we talked about time, about how much time are y'all giving for the hook?
It's only warm up. It's our warm up time.
So as soon as they come in?
Yeah.
Okay.
As soon, it's only a warm up.
Okay.
It's the warm up.
Got it. So after they do the thing, then what's next?
Then after that, we were to. Then 16 minutes.
I'm sorry.
Yes, they have the defining colonization. And I can't remember something that mess, but I have my paper pen.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. I got you.
So that's what we'll go into. So we'll start the article. We model paragraphs. 2.
Hello. Yes, I'm recorded planning. Before we move on to the reading, I know y'all said it was gonna be the warm up for the simulation. Will they be doing any reflecting?
Oh, that's what it is. It does. It has a reflective.
Okay.
So they're doing that and then reflective please.
Got it.
That's why I was like, I'm confused since this has some.
I got you. I got you.
Then we're going into defining colonization.
Got it. Okay.
Paragraphs 1 and 2.
This has the warm up and the
Hook is the warm up.
Is the warm up.
They're merging it into
Then
one.
we have a writing piece, the wicker piece, to reflect on how they felt based on the simulation. Then we go into our article.
How long do we anticipate on the allocate to the hook?
hooking the
Or
warm-ups
the
together.
homework, excuse me, how
Mhm.
much time would be?
So how much time do we normally give a warm-up?
Normally, 5 minutes.
We can stretch it to 7 if y'all
Yeah,
need to, so I
typically
say
we do
max,
7,
it would be 7.
because they're rotating.
Yes, because they're getting up to move. And then when they come back to their home is when they will be doing the reflection piece.
Okay.
And it's a timer.
Gotcha. Okay.
So we'll model for them their thinking.
Gotcha.
And then going to the next day, we were supposed to break it down two articles at a time. Is that too much?
Okay.
Or we need to condense that one too?
Well, when we look at the number of pages for reading, we're probably going to have to, condense, and there may have to be another, I know y'all normally do I do with the modeling, and the read aloud, and then it is the we do.
Yes.
So you might have to do one more we do, to kind of get them through it, or a piece of the other one. For example, looking at page 1 where it says European colonization of Asia, because there are 3 paragraphs, you might go ahead and do that first one as another we do, just to kind of get them started. And I would be cognizant of the group that you give that to, especially if it's a group that they may need that support in the beginning, and because you're helping them in the beginning, then they should be able to handle the last 2 paragraphs. So I just be mindful of who's getting those sections, because I do recall y'all saying y'all were gonna break it and everybody was going to get theirs and rotate. Okay. And I still think that idea would be great. For them to be able to share out what they've learned about each continent's experience with colonization. Okay. So yeah, you just might have to do a few more models than what you would normally do in order to get us to that 8-day time frame.
Okay.
So this would be Tuesday.
Yes.
So with Tuesday, you probably will get through defining motives, and then that first one.
Asia.
Okay.
Then the next day, we would do North America, Latin America, and Africa.
Yep.
And then the wrap up on Thursday would be
Yes.
colonization, Middle East, and then they would also do their food still on.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Maybe a couple of sticky notes or this. Thank you.
Okay. I do have where we had on Friday, they were starting to research the colonization. That's gonna be their grade for the test.
Yeah, and that's what we thought about too. I couldn't remember if we said there was gonna be a test grade or not, but I like it. Let's storyboard that.
Okay, we'll do that as their 6th grade.
Yes, yes. Cause they would already had 2. That would be the 3rd for the minimum.
Okay, so they'll start research on Friday.
When Mr. Powell and I initially talked, we talked about giving them a full day in class to start it and work on it. But we could also
Do stations.
yes, absolutely. What do y'all think about breaking the class so that you could continue to teach our next sections, but then groups could get to stations and still have time to start working on their storyboard that for colonization.
So all of Friday will be, I like that.
Yes, yes. Just to give them enough time to get in there, know how to play with the site, because the website is going to be new for them. So, and I don't think rushing that would be good, because if we're going to do it as a summative, we need to make sure that they understand how to use it, and then that they have thorough understanding of the research sheet.
Okay.
So probably we'll spend
The entire class period.
Research.
Correct, because this is, remember to do their storyboard that, yes. You're understanding how you're grouping your babies, your babies and how you're going to group them together. Many different things, of course, come into play. Their level, as far as reading levels, comes into play, but y'all know there are apps on the device that can help them read different websites if they need it. Yeah, and we may want to pre-find some websites and load them into Schoology, so that they'll have that already and they don't have to do a mass Google search. Yeah, you want to kind of streamline some of the things that they're looking for, because there's a lot of misinformation. So we just want to ensure
Who's this reading application specifically?
So there are some apps online, on a Chromebook, it'll read the actual website to them. But you can kind of streamline what they're actually going to be looking for if you create a folder in Schoology and give them the documents there that they can use to do their research.
I'm saying, so the way I'm visualizing this is aside from how I have right now, the week of folders, having another one that might be resource folders and include.
Oh, it can still be in the week of. Yeah, because they'll know when I started my research, which was the week of, so it can still be in that folder.
That makes a lot of
Yes,
sense.
yes. So in envisioning your stations, how many stations will you have? And of course, they would start Monday. On March the 3rd.
So once we start our station, we'll be going to this. Yes.
Yes, and this comes before that.
Okay,
Mhm.
so understanding
Yes.
geographic fact.
Because if you look at this, those are those geographic factors.
Location.
Physical geography, transportation, and then the last one is natural resources.
Okay.
These are the scenarios. So the
Okay.
scenarios, they read first and then they determine, is this more about location? Is this more about physical features? Is this more about transportation, or is it more about the country's natural resource? Then once they put their little X or checks, then they go back and find that evidence. So it's like the CER, but it's the E after they determine which one it is, and they have to do that. So, and they do it for each one.
So that's what they'll be working on.
Yes, yes. This one, they cannot do this until they do this first.
Okay, so by the pool happen.
Yes. So that's why I was saying, that's what I was thinking about. You taking your class and divide it into half. Half of them will be working on their storyboard that, the other half, you'll be teaching them this part.
Oh,
And then you pause and flip it. And that way, and you can do that multiple times because everybody will have different opportunities in class to actually work on the storyboard that, and they don't feel like, oh, I didn't have any time to do it at home. No, sweetheart. I've given you one full day we started, and then you've had multiple days after to
right.
get it started. And then, truth be told, even after Wednesday, when the storyboard that is done, if they haven't finished up this, they still got a couple of more days to finish this part up and then kind of share out what they got.
So if I'm hearing, just make sure I'm following along correctly. When we're going to, the students are working on the storyboard that the class, I'll split my class up to work on RM 64.
You will directly be leading that.
Right, and
Yes.
then timer halfway through class, I'll rotate, and that group of students will then start working on the storyboard that, and group B will work through understanding.
They'll be with you. So there's a guided station that you will have, and then there's a station they're working independently because they already have started their storyboard at that, because they started that Friday.
And I'll be doing this activity.
It'll be
as
like
well,
yes, it'll be the model, I model for you, and then you don't have to stay with this group the whole time though. You can get released and allow them to work, so you can go over there to the storyboard that group and kind of make sure that your proximity is good for both. All right, 7th grade Texas history, and kind of run through our specific teats for this lesson, and then we're gonna talk about a little bit of the training that we had this morning too. And see how we can integrate that. But yeah, so let's go ahead and I printed off everyone a full copy so you can mark it up, do what you needed to do. But I need someone to go ahead and give me the teaks for Cotton, Cattle, and Railroad.
1A.
Can you give me the verbiage?
Identify.
And out of all the jargon, what are we actually identifying for this one?
The purpose of dividing into eras, including cotton, cattle, and railroad.
The purpose of, what's the other one?
Dividing the eras,
Okay.
passing to eras, sorry.
And specifically, this one is, we're gonna call it C and R. So if I send something to y'all and it says CCR, that's what it means, Cotton Cattle Railroad. All right, give me another one.
16,
Okay, and what's the verbiage?
explain. Political, economic, and social impact on the development of West Texas. 8B, locate and compare.
Ooh. Okay.
Places of importance in Texas in terms of physical and human characteristics.
Okay.
8B,
Mm-hmm.
analyze.
Okay.
The effects of physical and human factors.
Thank you, Mr. Knight.
You're welcome.
Physical and human factors.
Yeah, factors.
Okay.
9A,
Okay.
identify
Mm-hmm.
ways in which Texans have adapted and modified the environment.
Mm. Okay.
11A,
Okay.
explain
Mm-hmm.
economic factors in the development of major industries.
Okay. Okay, so we are going to focus on these as we're going through some of our resources. I sent you all an email. Check your emails real quick. It's got a Canva link. Mm-hmm. So one of the beautiful things about Canva that I just discovered, and y'all probably knew it before I did, is that you can take this whole PDF, whatever little PDF package you got, and make it into a presentation, and an editable presentation. So you can move words around, change up the slides however you want it. So I tentatively left it just like it was in here. The only thing, I just didn't leave this top page. I just changed that so it look a little different. Now, it's not as cute as most Canva slides are, but I did it that way so y'all can look at it and kind of manipulate how you want it. Remember, we talked about those pages that y'all wanted to present, and it's already in there. I didn't turn all of them beige because I thought sometimes you may wanted to look at the actual reading. It might be hard to look at the reading, but you know, y'all can really fix it however you want because I gave all of y'all editing rights. Now, what's the major thing that's missing from here that I said we needed to include so that they wouldn't be shocked when it comes to the CBA?
Questions.
We need to insert those questions. So going into Eduphoria, pulling out those questions and putting them in here so you can assess as you give them little bitty chunks so that it's not a big shock to them when they get to the actual assessment. So do a little quick recap. When are we starting the CCR?
It should be Wednesday.
Wednesday, okay. Did y'all have planned a little hook to get them pulled into the topic?
I know. I wouldn't know. I haven't
Well,
thought of-
based on what we did this morning, what do y'all think?
Oh, there's.
With that non glossary? Dictionary?
Any kind of one he showed us was amazing.
I thought it was too. So if we could do that, that morning, like after they do their regular warm-up sheet, then go ahead and go into that and just let them kind of play with it. We'll decide how much time. I think that would be good for our babies to kind of start playing with it to see, does this help me? If so, how? And then if it doesn't, why not? So that we can get some feedback from them. So we would need to go through the slide, kind of pull out what we really don't need and kind of practice what that's actually going to look like. So did y'all already download that one? The one that had the cattle?
No, but I was able to find out a bunch more.
Okay, and then she said you should be set up now.
Okay.
Yeah, so you should be set up, and then they said they spelled your name wrong. They had a G instead of a Q. So she said she fixed that. So she said, try it now and you should be able to do it, but they are using the long one.
Yeah.
You did? Okay, good. Thank God. So that's gonna drive me.
Because there was an email for, oh, I used the short of it. And they wanted the Charles.
Yes, so go back to the website and then try to see if you can, yes.
Was, non,
Non-glossary, dictionary. And you can save these to your drive, and when you save it, you'll have to go to slides. I thought it was creating a folder, but Ms. Hill and I had to hunt for the one that she saved. It goes to your slide, so it just creates a slide, and then you have to rename it what you want. And my suggestion would be to get a folder in your drive, or we can actually do one in our drive and name it non-glossary, so that we can start putting all the stuff that we use in there, and we can organize it by units. So it'll be something that we can go back and find later. And then click log in. Okay, now try that full one. At Humble ISD, and then you might have to click. See if it'll accept. I don't think it stopped typing. Yeah. Okay, and then do your regular password, and then if that one doesn't work, then we're gonna click forgot password. Were you able to get in?
I have to set a password.
Oh, okay, good. After you set your password, you should be good. You find it and then click forgot password. And then it's gonna ask you for that big long one, and then it should send you an email for you to activate. You found it, Mr.
Yeah.
Okay. How many of them is it in there about cotton or about the railroad and about cattle? Because I saw that one about the cattle
Yeah,
drive.
so, let me see,
See if they got anything. It probably says transcontinental.
yeah,
Well, that still could help. It depends on how far it goes with that transcontinental, because really it's the railroad piece that we want to pull.
that one's good. I mean, at least so they can get the basic idea of what the purpose of the railroad is.
Yeah, and how, because they're a part, Texas is a part of the United States, at this point, they will be a part of the Transcontinental Railroad, so I think it'll be fine. Yeah. Yeah, they probably need that, they didn't even want to text you. Okay, you should be ready to
This would have
go.
been nice with West Expansion when we were talking about it.
You know, we'll have it for next year though.
So they can see, hey, this mountain's right there.
Mm-hmm. And you don't have to necessarily use that relational one side by side. You could actually alter the relational one, and then you could use the railroad and the cotton or the cattle and put those side by side. I love the fact that everything in here is editable.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not gonna mess with their original. That's why they say you can save it to yours and fix it how you want to. All right, go to subjects. And then you can type in whatever it is I think they gotta validate, so make sure you validate, and then after that, you should be good. Oh, yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, even though it's saying cotton gin, it don't even matter. It's still talking about cotton, what has to go through that process. So I think it's still fine.
We were looking at one earlier that was good for the transcontinental, this is
Okay.
the railroad, because it demonstrates how it grows. overtime.
It's probably taking a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's safe. I just saved it to the ground.
Okay, so when you go to your drive, go to slides, and the way that it saves is SOC.
Yeah, I see.
Yes. Go ahead and click on it and pull it up.
So here it is here.
Cattle industry, yep. Now I want to say you're clicking the PowerPoint. So then, that's fine. And then you can go right here. That'll get you to the next one.
Oh, right.
It's down on the very bottom. There you
This
go.
is what they have for the win.
Yep, that's what he just found. I think that's good. So do we want to do one image at a time? Or do you want to, I say we have time. Yeah, I love the fact that those two are together.
What's the first thing we talk about?
Let's see.
Yes.
First thing I think is going to be, you got the conflicts that starts on page 6. And it's the Buffalo Soldier. Hugh Parker. After the conflicts and all of that, we're going into cattle. So we don't have to do it right up front. We could wait until we got to that part, the cattle, and then we could talk about it.
Now, page 5, they do got this one where they got all 3 of them.
You want to do it that day?
We can go on a time and plug it in.
Yeah, we could do it this day, so we know on when we do page 5 before they actually read it.
Yeah.
We'll do. Yes.
Now they can go ahead.
Oh, absolutely. So yes, you can do each one of them. And so which one would you start with? Because remember, there are 3 different types of slides. One is an observational slide with the question and then the STEM. The other is a relational slide where it compares so they can make the connection. And then the other is an inferential slide where they have to infer a deeper understanding. It usually always start with the observational because it's just an easier one for them to do. And it just makes it a little bit more safe for them, I think, because this is going to be something new. So them looking at it and trying to work through it. But you are going to have to do a little groundwork in the front. Yes. So thank you, Mr. Knight, starting with the guide to icons. Make sure you teach them about these, and even this part is editable because sometimes y'all have different signals that you like to use. You can edit those parts to fit you and your class and how you do it. That's perfectly fine. The assess and who goes first, you can do all of that. Helping them see the difference between the colors. Now, the part that says accommodations for newcomer, the beginning emergent bilingual students, I wouldn't necessarily show that title, but I would show the different things to help them understand. Here, we're going to do some talking. Here, we're going to do some writing. Here, you're going to do some explaining or some collaborating with each other. I would make sure I explain that part to them. And then you can get into the exercise. Yep.
Slide 4.
Yeah.
5 things you notice.
But the slide you start on, you go back to start there with the icons. Start there with the icons. Then you go to helping them learn what the other different pieces are because they'll see different colors and you want everybody to do it. Yeah, I believe this is going to help the co-taught babies too.
Yes.
Some of the slower on-level babies, it's going to help them too. Because if you pay attention when y'all are asking them to say certain words, a lot of kids are not saying them. They're just sitting there looking. Now they need to. You got to make everybody pronounce it so that you can know you're on the right track with it. Because one of the things that they do when they're reading is trying to pronounce words, which is why they don't really get the comprehension piece because they're too busy trying to pronounce it. Am I pronouncing the word right? So this will help. So now let's think about time. How much time do y'all want to dedicate to this in order to get them started? Because we're doing 3 different images.
Yeah.
Now the icons, you ain't gonna have to teach that but once. So they should be fine with that the first time. but they are doing 3 different images. So do we have a time frame with probably 1 minute 30 seconds? And if somebody needed additional time, you know, you could go up to more time. So